Hey friends, and welcome back to CCM's Uptake. I'm Jeremy Burleson, Director of Community Engagement with CCM, once again joined by my co-pilot Ed Hosack, Executive Director of the ministry. As always, Ed and I are thrilled to be with you on this platform today as we share insight and hopefully some educational pieces to various parts of our ministry, various things affecting this community. What we intended on this platform to be was an area to where you could engage with us and take up your cross to find ways to help us find solutions to the crises facing our community here in Cabarrus and Southern Rowan counties. In our last episode regarding housing capacity, we talked about the importance of building and maintaining capacity for transitional and emergency housing needs. However, it's just as crucial for us to walk alongside those residents and those clients of ours to provide resources and necessary services for them, not just to have a temporary solution, Ed, but to have a solution that will get them on the path to ultimately becoming stable. Right. Let's talk a little bit about that as we get started today. Ed, talk about why is it necessary for these residents to create that stability and how to do that and be successful.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, you know, it's not enough to just establish a roof and a bed,
sure,
you know, and a door that they can lock to feel safe at night. Certainly, that's a step up, and it's progress for many, especially parents with young families and the single moms that we serve in our programs. But there's so much more that's necessary. And in our programs, My Father's House is our entry point into CCM's housing continuum. That first few weeks that a family is with us, you understand that in many cases they've come out of a cycle of loss and situations that really require drastic measures and a lot of manipulation just to meet the basic needs.
Of course.
And so that first few weeks is really about gaining trust.
Of course.
It's about giving that parent an opportunity to breathe. Yeah. We do that by initially just addressing the issue of safety. Yeah. So the day that a family comes into our housing programs, for instance, safety is resolved. Yeah. They can get a good night's sleep. They can know that they're safe for that night. Food and nutrition are immediately addressed, and that's no longer a concern for mom or for the children who have been carrying that burden. Right. And in terms of hygiene and just being able to present themselves and feel good about themselves, that's what that early time is about, so that they can even begin to look past the immediate and consider what the future looks like.
One of the neatest parts of our approach that I've appreciated the most as a believer, number one, is there's no greater sense of calm and no greater sense of comfort than the love of Jesus. And so what you just talked about is vital and important, but we're doing it with that faith-based mentality. And that to me is incredibly encouraging. So Ed, once that initial kind of surge of worry and doubt, I don't want to say it's cured, but at least mended for a short amount of time. What are next steps? What programs does CCM have in place now? Mm-hmm. One of which is somewhat new with our Education and Support Services team. Talk a little bit about that, and we'll go from there.
Mm-hmm. Well, you have to understand that for a parent who is experiencing homelessness or housing crisis and trying to care for their children, their horizon, if you will, is tonight. What am I going to feed my children this evening? What am I going to feed them tomorrow? Sure. Where are we going to spend tonight? And one of the things that we try to accomplish as quickly as possible is to extend her horizon. Okay? Ooh. Because a mom who is trying to meet today's needs is not thinking about her own physical health. She's not thinking about her own mental health. She's not thinking about the next job or getting a job, quite frankly, because she's dealing with where my children are going to be tonight.
Right.
And so one of the things we want to do for anyone who is coming out of a housing crisis is to help them extend their horizon so they can begin to identify those areas that need to be addressed. Sure. That's where our education and support services kick in. That's necessary for anyone and everyone, whether they're in our program or not, to be establishing these connections, such as appropriate medical care, right?
I was going to say, there are things that you and I likely take for granted, and that's the ability to go to the dentist. That's the ability to go get a doctor's checkup. That's the ability to have financial planning help. Establishing savings accounts, as simple as that may be. These folks that we're talking about struggle in how to do that and where to do that and how to go about that. So
you're absolutely right. And so our education and support services, which is the newest division of Cooperative Christian Ministry, is focused on that very challenge. So many individuals who are facing housing crisis or even have managed to establish the housing but are living on that very thin line of vulnerability. They don't have access to the things that you and I, like you said, access every day. And so part of our program is designed at building bridges to access those vital services. And when these individuals can not only access but know how to utilize the vital services that are out there, from housing to transportation to education and employment opportunities, health care, and the like, they can begin to put together the pieces and rebuild their lives and move beyond the crisis they're in.
Friends, you hear Ed and I talk about these things, and CCM certainly has specialties or expertise in certain areas as it relates to that emergency and transitional housing needs, the resources available. But we certainly cannot do it alone. The partnerships that we've been able to build to this day by way of our strategic plan, whether it be through mental health or whether it be through other areas of interest that aren't our expertise at CCM. Those partnerships are vital. And so we've been able to have conversations that we've never been at the table at before, as a result of this new department, this new strategic plan. It's not new at this point. We're in the middle of it, but we're excited. We're excited about that. No way this happens without those partnerships.
Absolutely. And that is how we will continue to bring these specialized services for the early childhood, for the senior adults, for the workplace transitions and training. All of those partners in the community are very much a part of our integrated services model and the work that we're doing to bring these resources to these families so that they can begin, now that housing and nutrition are not their daily priority, they can begin to put together the pieces of a plan that they've made for themselves.
Absolutely. Friends, we have just scratched the surface. I'm telling you, we have just scratched the surface to helping to alleviate this solution. We talked about capacity last week, or the previous episode. We talked about resources and services available. We have a long way to go. And the way that we get there is through partnerships with you, partnerships with the community, continuing to support CCM, whether it be financially or whether it be in kind or whether it be through our financial assistance program. We love the partnerships we have with you, and we pray that those continue. Check back here in a couple of weeks for another episode of CCM's Uptake. Check it out on our CCM YouTube channel as well as across our social media platforms. Share us on those social media platforms. Like us, comment, forward those. We would love to be able to engage with you on those platforms. Most importantly, we pray that we continue to do what we can do in this platform to share that good word with this community.
Absolutely. We didn't get a chance to talk about the education programs that we're creating. I look forward to talking about that in one of our next episodes.
Sure.
Thank you for joining us today for CCM's Uptake.